What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Riftbound Braum. Today we're going to be going over everything that's going on with the Riftbound market. What's going up, what's going down. The Teemo is just blowing up out of control. So we're going to go through, and honestly, this is the time to buy singles. We're going to get into it. We're going to get into what you should be buying, which ones you should be picking up. But, you know, this is the time to buy. We're in the prime time for picking up those singles, probably the lowest that they're going to be as we move into Spiritforged and we prepare to build our next decks with set 2 on the way. But, before we hop into it, guys, make sure that you subscribe, make sure you like the video, do the whole 9 yards for me. This is a new channel, so every little bit that you guys do helps when it comes to commenting, so on and so forth. But let's dive into this. We're going to dive right into this without any BS. Let's get into it. So first and foremost, Teemo. I think that's without discussion. We have to talk about Teemo. So this guy right here is just an absolute monster. We have... look, $684, $685. I saw one that sold on a Facebook group, and that thing went for $750. Now, if you're asking yourself, why the heck is this Teemo just blowing up out of nowhere? It's because it's a promotional card. If you look at all the promotional cards, they're mostly starting to go up, and you're going to see that more and more happen, because these are only available with the Nexus Night Packs. And the Nexus Night Packs are changing. With set 2, we're going to get a new set of Nexus Night Packs, which means Teemo's GG Easy is not going to be available anymore. Means it's time to, you know, if you haven't bought it already, I would try to find an opportunity to get it on the low, maybe trade for some, because this card, I think it's going to sit at this price. If not, it's going to continue to go up, especially as we see the scarcity of it just being almost non-existent with no new Nexus packs. So I think Teemo is going to be a huge investment. I think, honestly, I think any of the promos are good pickups now, so you can just hold on to them. If you're looking for like long-term collecting and value out of your Riftbound cards. Now, with that being said, let's move on to the next one. We're going to move on to our signatures. We have Kai'Sa. Kai'Sa is an absolute killer. This goes without question. Kai'Sa went on the rise. She stayed on the rise. And she is sitting at $2,000. That is absolute insanity. There is only one right now on the market for $50 cheaper. All the rest seeing $2,000 and up. That is an absolute banger card right there. And you guys got to remember, so when it comes to playing the game and buying for your collection, it's going to be two different discussions here. Because these signature cards, you don't need them. These are 100% for the collector. But if these are cards you're going to want, and we see Riftbounds in the long term being successful, these cards could arguably end up in the 5,000 area. So that's something to keep in mind. I know not everybody has $2,000 to drop on this card. I definitely do not. But if you do have the money, it might not be a bad opportunity to find somebody who has it, maybe try to do a cash deal and bring the price down a little bit. But all the signature cards, they're all blowing up. Every single one of them, they are going through the roof. We're going to go through the signature cards, and then we're going to talk about exactly, you know, what cards you should be buying as you're preparing to play for set 2. So, you know, Ahri up there. Ahri is an absolutely beautiful card. There's no question about it. What we got? We got a 1,900, a 2,000. This one's sitting at the same price as Kai'Sa, and of course it is. I mean, look how gorgeous this card is, how hard they are to pull. It goes without question. It is still up there with those. Next up on is Misfortune. A beautiful card, beautiful signature. It's definitely not as popular, it's not as sought after. That's why we're seeing the price difference. But again, I see these cards just going through the moon. Once Origin stops printing, these cards are gonna just balloon. What they go to, that's gonna be highly debatable, but like I said, I see these, the lower end ones, maybe 3,000. The higher end ones, you could see them 5, 6, God, dare I say $7,000. Obviously, it's all speculative, but with how popular it is, and again, it all really matters on the long-term success of Riftbound. And so far, it's off to a really good start. We're going to talk about the printing, the lack of reprints, so on and so forth, on how that might or might not affect things. So moving on, we're going into Jinx. Jinx is sitting around the same price as Misfortune. Not a hugely sought after card, though the artwork is absolutely dope. I honestly expected this card to be a little more expensive just because of Arcane's popularity. But, you know, Riftbound's relatively new, so this might be an opportunity to pick this card up before it does decide to shoot back up. Set goes without question. This is a big card that players are really starting to use more. So the price definitely makes sense. We're seeing, you know, a few 700, 900s, and then it's jumping to 1200 and then jumping to 2000. There's only 6 listings of this card up right now, so that's definitely something else to keep in mind. We got the Lee Sin signature. Absolutely dope artwork. This is probably my favorite artwork, and I might be biased because Lee Sin Overnumbered is the first Overnumbered I pulled. But as we're seeing, you know, it's got 6 listings as well. You know, $800, $800, $800, $950, $1,000, $1,300. So it's very limited, guys. Like, these are cards you want to get on the low now. I highly recommend you pick them up. Yasuo. People got mad at me because I called him Yazo. I've called him Yazo for years now just because it's easier for me, or Yaz. People are very serious about making sure you have that articulation and pronunciation correct. But see, we're seeing the same thing here. We got a few more 15 listings, but the last listing sitting at 1200. 15 is not a lot of cards. As we see popularity pop up, we're probably going to see that more and more coming up. We have Leona signature. Not a hugely sought after card, personally. Not the hugest fan of the Leona signature. But as you can see, 7 listings from $700 to $1,000. Let's see. We have the signature Teemo, $800. And 9 listings, all sitting relatively around the same price. So Teemo's not going crazy. We have seen that they're all kind of just steadily sitting at this. None have really sold recently, so nobody's rushing out to buy these cards. That's also something else to keep in mind. Let's see what else we got. We got the Victor. There's only 2 listings right now for Victor, putting it at $884. Now, there's 2 reasons that we could see no sales, and there's really only 2 options. One, they don't really like the price, and so they're not buying it a whole lot, and so that's why we're not seeing a lot of sales over a period of time. Also, the scarcity of how many cards are out there. People struggled to get one box just to rip. There's some people that are holding on to sealed cases, but there's not a lot of them. Most people are ripping this stuff up, and what we're seeing is just what's available. So that's also something to keep in mind if you're thinking about, maybe I should buy this card. If you can find it on the low, I recommend going ahead and picking it up. All the signatures. There's not a even question in my mind. Don't think about it right now. Think about long term. Once they stop printing this, once it's not available. Now, reprints might hurt it a little bit. It might bring the price down, but I don't think we're going to see a drastic price drop in comparison to the price increase in the long term. Volley Bear sitting at $750, an absolute banger right there as well. Let's see what we got. We got $750, $750, $750, $1,000, $1,000, $1,200. I mean, it's self-explanatory, guys. You guys should be picking these up if you are not already picking these up. Darius is probably the lowest one right now. That might be a good grab if you like Darius. But let's move into what's going up and down right now. So I like to use TCG Player, but I also like to use Magical Meta. Magical Meta just has a better layout, a better platform, a rather better interface of showing you what's really going up and down right now. So we gotta really, this part of the video is gonna focus on what we should be buying as we're moving into set 2. And that's what I meant at the beginning of this. When I say right now is the time to buy, now is the time to buy. As we get the English version of set 2, nobody knows really what they're going to be building. I mean, we have a vague idea, but there's going to be a lot of cards that are going to be just ones that we didn't expect to blow up. For the most part, though, we know that Draven, Fiora, Israelia, they're all going to be huge as we move into set 2. And so you should be really focusing on getting those Dravens, getting those Fioras, getting those small cards that you might not think are super popular now, but something like Tide Turner is really shaking up, and you should be going out and getting those singles now. Not only that, the market right now is pretty low because of Wave 2 coming in. So with Wave 2 coming in, we saw a big price drop in a lot of these banger cards, and that's really, really healthy for collecting, really healthy for playing, but it's nice to bring in new players with this coming in, and I think this is your opportunity. Now, granted, the sealed, we're going to talk about sealed product is still really expensive, and that's why I say now is the time to buy, but it is time to buy singles. Now, we're going to look quickly over, we got the Seal of Discord has been going up like crazy, and again, because set 2's coming, and it's going to be heavily used, so people are buying it up. I mean, it was January 4th, it was at $12, what do we see? The January 10th is when we saw the significant increase from $15 to $34, and now it's just been rising up. I think it's going to steadily sit around $45, $50. So, if you have it beforehand, super awesome. If you're looking to sell the Seal of Discord, this might be a good opportunity to do that. Let's see. We got, obviously, Thousand Tail Watcher. Thousand Tail Watcher has seen a significant decrease, and it's seen a tiny little bump. I think this is going to be where it really sits. Thousand Tail Watcher is a great card to have. It's good in decks, but a lot of people have pulled it, which means a lot of people have it. Most people already have the Watchers that they need, so they're not going out here and trying to get 4 or 5 more of those. Let's see. Falling Star. Falling Star is sitting not the greatest, but we saw it drop drastically. I mean, look, it was a $16 card, and now it's sitting at about $4. And I think this is mostly just because we saw more product coming in. Again, a great time to buy if you're trying to build decks. I wouldn't recommend trying to build a Kai'Sa deck anymore, just because nobody's really playing Kai'Sa. At least from what we saw in the China regionals, no one was really doing much there. But we're seeing, we have the Kog'Maw. Let's see what Kog'Maw's sitting at. Kog'Maw had a huge start, but it's leveled out and it's dropped down. No one's playing Kog'Maw anymore. No one's really using it. It can do something, but no one's really found a way to utilize it and make it useful. I think really that one might is what keeps people away from actually using this card. Now let's see what we got going on here. Our top gainers, obviously, set signature is blowing up because people are loving set right now. So it's seeing a huge increase of $25 or 3.7%. We got the Set Brawler. Set Brawler is seeing a little bit of an increase. The Dinger is going up, but that is the promo Dinger. Remember what I said, guys, promo cards, if you're in the realm of collecting, if you're trying to get all these together and so on and so forth, this is the time to start buying up those promos, because once the Nexus Knight is gone, once we move past all this, the promo cards, the Judge promotional cards, all of those are going to be a lot harder to get, especially as we're creating new ones and the older ones are getting phased out. So let's see what we got here. We got RE going down a little bit. They overnumber. That's not a big deal. Booster box case going down a little bit. Not a big deal. Booster box itself sitting roughly about the same. It's gone up and down, but it's not really fluctuating drastically in any significant way. So in the last 24 hours, we see a lot of people buying up runes. That's no question. Stack decks are being picked up. Obviously, stack deck, you're going to want that in your purple decks. So if you want to get those now, guys. The Tide Turners, they're only 55 cents right now. You might want to pick some of those up. They are going to be important in your decks if you don't already have them. Singularity, Defy, Ride the Wind, Hidden Blade, those are all without question. Nocturne seeing a little more use here as well, guys. I don't know if it's a need to buy right now, but Thundersong has definitely been seeing a rise, and I think we're going to see more of a rise as we move forward into the future. But like I said, guys, this is like Mind Splitter too. Mind Splitter sitting about $3 to $5, depending on where you pick it up at. So I think, again, a good time to buy. Let's check out sealed product before we hop off and see what sealed's looking at. We just went over it a little bit, but let's talk about it. So booster boxes sitting at $286. I do not see this price drastically changing until we get like wave 3. And even wave 3, with how much product we've been seeing, I don't really see it changing drastically. And we see, over the last 7 days, it's already jumped up $57 because that was wave 2. Wave 2 brought it down about $50, but now that wave 2 is pretty much gone, it's already jumping back up to its original price. The case has stayed relatively about the same price. It didn't see much fluctuation with wave 2. Singles, and this is why I say singles is probably your best option. Getting those singles now, getting the ones that you need, not having to worry about it. That way you're not having to open up a booster box if you decided you wanted to buy one for $250 and put it up in your closet and maybe let that appreciate in value, and you didn't want to open it up, but you want to play Riftbound. Now is the time, guys. Now is the time to get in there and buy your singles while you have the opportunity, while they're still kind of low. We saw all those, the Thundersong, and so, all those really maintaining their price. And set 2, we're going to get a whole new slew of things, and that's really going to jump prices up, mainly on set 2 items. But don't be surprised if we see some Origins cards seeing relative spikes, depending on the card, depending on what ends up being the true meta for English. Because we know China's meta is pretty much Draven, even if it's not Miracle Draven. It's Draven, Fiora, and Israelia. And you're going to be wanting to focus on trying to get those cards if you don't already have them when it comes to your Origin sets. Because like I said, you guys see these prices. The prices for sealed stuff is absolutely astronomical. I mean, just look at the deck boxes. The deck boxes, why is the Lee Sin deck box going for $44? The Victor deck box going for $55. They're not even that big. They're pre-constructed decks. But people want to play. I personally, I only paid I think $20 for each of those decks, but that's how I got into it. I bought the Victor deck, I bought the Lee Sin deck, I bought the Jinx deck, and then I started playing myself against the Jinx deck, using the Victor, and that's how I ended up learning the game myself. But so when it comes to sealed, guys, my biggest recommendation, wait. Just wait. There's going to be some more reprints. There's going to be another opportunity to get some of this stuff at retail. When it all else fails, at the end of the day, if you absolutely have to go out there and buy that Origins box at $300, I would say give it 6 months. Give it 6 months, maybe less, 3 months. Give it 3 months. Give them an opportunity to put some more boxes out. And if you don't hit on those, maybe consider trading for a box or something of that nature. But really, I think that's really gonna be it for our Market Watch Monday. We're gonna try to do this every single Monday. We're gonna try to bring to you guys the market, what you guys should be buying, what you might want to be buying, and the things to keep a lookout, especially if you're trying to build up your decks, or if you're trying to just find those signature cards that you've been wanting so badly. This is the place to be every Monday. I appreciate you guys being here. Again, make sure that you subscribe, like the video, and until the next one.